Peace at your hand. Part 2. Chapter 4, General Bi-Millennium Conference of Human Vices. Through the interview with African wise men, this copy of the verbatim report of the Conference of Human Vices, chaired by Satan himself, where African Wiseman was an invited guest, was obtained. SS Operation Finish Up. In attendance were the following. All the spirit followers of Satan from beginning to now. All the vices in the world. Historical background. Opening speech, the chairperson Mr. Lucifer alias, Master Mayhem. The following is a full text of Mr. Lucifer's opening speech during the General Bi-Millennium Conference of Human Vices as reported by Mr. Wiseman, who was invited by Lucifer. Comrades in arms. In the beginning, I planted in the hearts of men the desire to take care of my affairs on earth. My followers and I were denied to have bodies because of our opposition to the creation of the earth. This led to a very serious war between my group and the other group who were in support of the creation of the earth. Consequently, we were driven down here to roam about in search of bodies to dwell in. Progress Review. At the beginning of this war, my group and I were about 30% of the entire heavenly hosts. Today we have the control of over 45% of the earthly bodies. We have crumbled several empires, kingdoms and nations that have been under our control like the Roman Empire. We have had controls over the ships in the seas, airplanes in the air, and vehicles on the road, all in search of human bodies. We have divided the churches into fractions. We have introduced new churches, philosophies and mixed them together. We have strengthened the Islamic movement with gold, silver and power to rule with war and blood, at the same time divide them into many fractions with the help of Mr. Agitation and Mr. Anger. In short, we have rendered the churches into toothless bulldogs. Suffice it to be known that about 80% of the mighty churches on earth today are under our control. Strategies. As you might have seen, there are bodies that would like to join hand with us to oppose this creation. These bodies are willing to invite us to live with them and eventually take over their bodies forever. These willing bodies are the bodies that you should prepare for our abode. The second groups of bodies you will work on are those bodies that sympathize with our course, but cannot equivocally say their minds because of fear. The third groups of bodies are the weak bodies, which are still not sure of where they belong. These three groups of bodies are easy prey for us. Mr. Pride and Mr. Ignorant could easily blind their eyes and close their ears so that they will follow our group with ease. The youths. The youths of humankind are a very important group. Before they are of the age of reason, Mr. Stubborn should take possession of them, while Mr. Ignorant will blind their eyes and block their ears to hear their parents. Mr. Pride should start at this early stage to help them. National leaders. The leaders of all the nations are a vital important group that we should use our friend Mr. Money as our tool. They will now invite Mr. Greed to lead them in their meetings, and Mr. Pride will come to blind their eyes from seeing other things than Mr. Fiat, alias Money. Mr. Selfishness should be ready to wait on the road to national wealth distribution. When they overlook the commoners, Mr. Anger should go into action and mobilize the people for rioting. When this happens, Mr. Pride will close the ears of the leaders and blind their eyes, then Mr. Stubborn will come to settle the matter for them, while Mr. Greed will prepare for war, and Mr. Anger will work on both parties and set the stage for action on both sides. When this is done, the nation is set for our takeover. The commoners. While the nation is in trouble, the sufferings among the common people increase. They will seek the help of Mr. Dishonesty, Mr. Thief and Mr. Armed Robber. These three brothers will go into action to help our teams. Policy makers. Policy makers in the nations, business organizations, and others form an important group of people, including the judiciary. It is here long-term decisions are taken. We have to put all our resources at work. We have our tools, our friends Mr. Fiat, Mr. Pleasure and Mr. and Mrs. Wine and Women, known as WW. These friends will attract them. While they are enjoying, Mr. Bribe is waiting behind to go into action. When Mr. Bribe has made the ground fertile, Mr. Pride with Mr. Power will go and take positions in their meetings and direct them to the policies we want. Remember our policy: corrupt the head and save our spirits. The religious groups. These groups are divided. Many pray without faith and act without recognized authority. Most of them are already on our team without knowing it, swimming in the ocean of no water. Some of them love women, drinks and money. Our friends Mr. Money and Mrs. Woman can always invite them for dinner. There, they will invite Mr. Greed to help them to share the church money while Mrs. Woman will give them pleasure. A good many of them are very dangerous and we must be careful when they pray. The smoke from their prayers could scatter our groups. We must stay far away from them. Remember our policy about them: never go near. The residue of people. If all the residue of people could invite us into their bodies, perhaps majority of my groups will have dominion here on earth. In this wise, I command all here to go among everyone everywhere and use our tools to entice them to invite Mr. Hatred, Mr. Revenge, Mr. Selfishness and Mr. Lust in their bodies. Family group. The married couples must be scattered. I ask Mr. Money, Mr. Unfaithful and Mr. Anger to go immediately into action. The unmarried people must be paired man with man and woman with woman and seal them in marriage that no more children come to earth any longer. Women must be geared to fight for their rights to be equal to men in the society, that there will be no more need for or room for childcare. The children should be cared by Mr. Do What You Like. Mr. Agitation should set to work now. Lawmakers must ensure that only married working couples can benefit from any financial rights in the society to ensure that women have little or no time to produce more children. Mr. Fiat, Mr. WW, and Mr. Agitator should set to work. Use all our resources, friends and allies to ensure that this family strategy has the power and resources needed. Conclusion. Comrades, in arms, the final millennium is at hand. Set your engine to the fastest gear. Every moment is crucial to our existence. Use the modern invention sponsored by our allies to fight. Use all the gold and silver in stock. Drink blood for water, cigarettes for incense and wine for tea. Activate all the vices to their full strength. Leave no stone unturned. Fight in the air, sea and land, even in homes. Remember, never cross the border line that the enemy may not destroy you. Commentary. Satan has made clear in his bimillennium speech the followings. 1. To stop bearing children to earth. 2. To destroy all human beings. 3. To promote homosexuality and lesbianism in order to frustrate the regeneration of human beings and to stop women from bearing children. 4. To destroy the youth so that there will be no future generations. 5. To use money to promote evil in the society. 6. To use sex as means of destroying the earth's inhabitants instead of bearing children. Do we need another prophet to tell us that Satan is man's enemy? He uses the weakness in man to seduce man to do evil in order to lead man to destruction. We have seen here that whenever we invite Satan into our body, he stays there until he takes control of us to lead us to destruction, or until man casts Satan out. If we control ourselves by disciplining ourselves, Satan and his agents can never come to us because Satan cannot cross the borderline. The whole episode reveals who Satan is. Because of his greediness, envy, hatred and jealousy, whatever he could not get he will destroy. Mr. Wiseman, through his steadfastness, has been able to make it possible for humankind to know the devil in his true color as revealed by the devil himself and not through any third party or story from any religious organization.